Coming up on Network Africa, chaos and mayhem in Kenya as protesters are shot after they stormed the parliament in Nairobi demanding the repeal of the finance bill. At least 24 people killed by flooding and landslides after heavy rains in Côte d'Ivoire. Plus, the United Nations Children Agency, UNICEF, says millions of children are going hungry in Sudan. Hello and a warm welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us at this time. I'm Layo or Larinde. Let's begin in Kenya. It appears there is no end in sight to the protests that have rocked the country for 2 weeks now. According to paramedics attending to people that were injured today, at least several people have been killed as police fired live ammunition to disperse the protesters in the capital city of Nairobi. Dozens others also injured. Now, this was after protesters stormed the Parliament complex, where members of Parliament were debating the controversial finance bill. Anti-tax demonstrations have continued in the capital city, and according to local media, there have also been huge crowds in many other parts of the country and in about 30 of the country's 47 counties. Police fired tear gas and rubber bullets, trying to push back protesters from reaching the parliament, but all of that was in vain as hundreds of protesters breached and entered into the complex. A section of the parliament was also said to be on fire. Well, in the capital city, Nairobi, businesses have been shut and transport has been paralyzed in the city. The youth-led protests are calling on members of parliament to reject proposed tax increases. The government, which has rolled back on some of the most controversial measures, says new taxes are needed to fund spending programs and also to lessen the debt burden. Well, let's get more on all that's happening in Nairobi. Joining us now is Cyrus Ombati, Kenyan journalist in the capital city. Hello, Cyrus. Let's begin with what the situation is at this time in the capital. I know you were on ground to, follow the protesters and you saw the mayhem that happened.
Well, thank you for having the show. What I can tell you that the day has been chaotic, to say the least. It started in the morning, early in the morning, 9 a.m. Up to now, as we are speaking now, in the CBD, things are bad. People are still running with police. The military has joined in trying to quell the violence because it's getting out of hand. Now, goons have joined that they are looting property here and there. And Parliament was breached, as you said. People went to even the Parliament, the Speaker's seat. They went to both Senate and the National Assembly. It had to force members of parliament who were in session to run out. But then, unfortunately, is that the MPs had passed the bill, which is actually in the contention for now. So far, we have almost 8 people dead and the dozens are injured. And we believe that the number will increase as now figures come by. As you said very clearly, operations are paralyzed in Nairobi. Nothing is going on, especially in the CBD. Everything is paralyzed. It's only running battles between the protesters and the police now ongoing.
And, President Ruto earlier, on Sunday, when he attended the church service, he said he was open to dialoguing with these youths that are protesting. When can we expect that to happen? Because this has been an unprecedented situation in Nairobi.
I don't think that's going to happen because the bill has been passed in Parliament. Now, you see, he had that chance to dialogue with the so-called youth, the group which was contentious with, if he allowed Parliament to suspend the bill, but he didn't do that. He allowed the Parliament to go on with the discussion, and they passed the bill. So his comment that he will allow discussion with the youth is not going to happen because now what's remaining is for him to sign the bill. And you see, they're going to come back again now for more protests, and we fear more deaths may happen.
Indeed, that is the fear because there has to be, some way to pacify the youth. But you say the president is yet to sign on it, but it has passed in the parliament. When can we expect that to, happen?
Well, in between now and end time, he can do it even tomorrow. He can do it tomorrow but one, but he can also reject it if he wants. If he can also reject and say, go and amend 1, 2, 3, 4 things. But now, as it stands, it's between him and his own word. If he even did, it means whether he wants to dialogue with the youth, he can refuse to sign the bill, then refer it back to Parliament for debate or for rejection in total, because that's what the demonstrators are demanding.
All right, let's talk about how we got here in the first place. You know, what the youths and the protesters are demanding. What is it about this finance bill that has made a whole lot of Kenyans angry?
Well, what we understand is that this bill is proposing a number of taxes which are going to affect actually the cost of living in Kenya. For example, it's introducing a number of levies on fuel, and you see if you touch fuel, it means you are touching the life of people. It's touching on the cost of medication, because there's a section of the bill which says that you actually remove taxes which you introduce taxes on kind of specialized hospitals, especially which are dealing with cancer, say pediatricians. So it means the cost of medication is going to increase, especially for cancer patients. The youth who are kind of content creators, now they're also going to be taxed in so many ways, because they are being told that if and when the bill is actually ascended to the law, it means that whatever you produce online or whatever you earn, 20% of the same will be going as taxes, among other issues which the people are raising, because the government says that they needed almost 340 billion Kenyan shillings to bridge the gap in 2024-2025 budget.
All right then, Cyrus, thank you so much for your reporting, and do stay safe. Cyrus Mbati there, Kenyan journalist in Nairobi. Well, we're still in the country, Kenya. Hundreds of police officers are set to depart for Haiti to fight gangs responsible for a surge in violence in the Caribbean nation this year. Well, an initial group of 400 officers is part of the 1,000 that Kenya plans to send for the controversial mission in Haiti to combat the influence of powerful criminal gangs. Now, despite a court ruling deeming the deployment unconstitutional, President William Ruto's administration is moving forward with the mission. Critics have raised concerns about the history of alleged abuses by Kenyan police officers. Well, at a ceremony on Monday addressing the Kenyan officers who will be at the head of the multinational force, President Ruto stressed the importance of their mission. Take a listen.
You are undertaking a vital mission that transcends borders and cultures. Your presence in Haiti will bring hope and relief to communities torn apart by violence and ravaged by disorder. Your performance in this assignment must be a firm statement of Kenya's capability and contribution to global peace and security, and a clear response to doubters and naysayers about your competence, integrity, and professionalism, as well as our nation's credentials.
Security and defense analyst David Otto joins us now for further discussions on this. Thank you so much, David, for your time on the program. Let's begin with your thoughts on, Kenya deploying its police officers to Haiti. I mean, this plan has been in the works for some time, but despite a court ruling deeming the deployment unconstitutional, it's going on as planned.
Well, I think timing is very critical. Remember that the Kenyan government, took this lead in the UN-backed multinational security force to provide huge assistance to Haiti, which has been ravaged by gangs, in Port-au-Prince. Of course, you understand that this is a country that has suffered from the prime minister resigning after he left Kenya. So it's been very chaotic. I mean, a lot of Kenyans are arguing that this deployment, as the appeal court had indicated, is quite unconstitutional, saying that there was no reciprocal agreement between the government of Kenya and the Haitian government. But what happened, after that court declaration was that the Kenyan government then went to obtain that reciprocal agreement. But a lot of Kenyans argued vociferously that the Kenyan authorities had secured an agreement with the government that was not stable, and therefore the level of unconstitutionalism which was mentioned in the first place still remains intact. Another key argument that a lot of Kenyans are making is that the Kenyan police force is for Kenyans and should not be deployed outside the boundaries of Kenya, especially with the fact that Kenya has its own insecurity issues. It still combats groups like Al-Qaeda's Al-Shabaab. It still has less control and it grabs on the national security issues, especially banditry within the country. So it comes at a very critical time as well, when Kenyans are complaining about the level of the economy. So it's not a good news for the Kenyan authorities deploying these forces yesterday. About 400 of them are on their way to Haiti as we speak.
Indeed, David, and East Africa is battling its own, and that's the region where Kenya is based. But talking about its own problems, the country is now even battling the local issues, talking about the protests against the finance bill, which we've heard earlier on that, the bill has been passed in Parliament. It's just waiting for the signature from the president. Would you say this is a good timing for this deployment?
Well, everything is about timing, as I mentioned earlier on, and timing is everything. Kenyans are arguing that at the time when this finance bill is being passed, essentially, this is a bill that would increase fuel, levy and making it more expensive for Kenyans to actually acquire fuel. And the consequence of that is something that one has witnessed in the case of Nigeria, whereby the increase in fuel has a huge impact and a direct impact on other vital economic products. That's one of the things that they're talking about. But also, Kenyans are saying that, they still haven't had a grasp, as I mentioned earlier on the level of insecurity in the country. Kenyans are still battling with the likes of Al-Shabaab, that, is in neighboring countries. So, effectively, they're saying solve the problem at home first. Stabilize the country before you can provide any assistance to countries like Haiti. And they do argue very strongly that Haiti is too far away for the Kenyans to lead such a mission. But some analysts have pointed out that this is a political move, especially with the fact that the United States, is backing this financially. And, there's a lot of argument that the United States has done this because it doesn't want to demonstrate some level of self-interest by sending its troops. But I think the biggest issue that a lot of Kenyans would possibly experience is that if they do deploy, of course they're already deploying. Yes. When body bags begin to return, then the effect of this deployment will be felt at home.
Well, the U.S. that you mentioned, is backing them financially, including Canada. They've both called for an international police mission to Haiti, but like you mentioned, have been hesitant to commit their own troops to such an effort. Why do you think this is so, just very quickly?
Well, as I mentioned earlier on, the U.S. and Canada believes that if they do deploy their own forces, then it would be a direct influence, of which they've been accused of several years. And I believe that the gangs, that, have taken over Port-au-Prince, which is the capital of Haiti, would be quite pleased, to have U.S. troops on ground, in the sense that, it would be some kind of a direct confrontation. But the truth is, deploying Kenyan forces, to a country that they lack cultural intelligence is a dead trap. And, I think I do side with, the majority of Kenyans who believe that, this shouldn't be the case. But, the president describes this as a mission for humanity. Let's see how that goes.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Security and Defense Analyst David Otto. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a break now on the program. Still ahead. The UN mission in South Sudan discusses critical issues to contribute to a peaceful and successful political transition as elections draw near. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Here in West Africa, authorities in Côte d'Ivoire say at least 24 people have died following a week of heavy rains, 4 times the usual volume in some cases. Flooding and landslides in the largest Ivorian city of Abidjan has also caused significant damage across the city, flooding houses and roads. Now, the National Office for Civil Protection say at least 271 people who were trapped after the heavy rains have been successfully rescued. Flood-related deaths are not uncommon in the country during rainy season, but according to the Ivorian Meteorological Agency, the recent rainfall was particularly violent, with more than 200 millimeters. President Paul Kagame of Rwanda has underscored the region's turnaround from a post-genocide insurgency zone into a thriving tourism destination. During his speech at a campaign rally in Musanze in Rwanda's northern district, he said this was made possible through the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission and the Rwanda Development Board. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani visited the RDRC to update on progress as it concerns ex-combatants returning home to Rwanda.
Established in 1997, the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission was set up to support, design, implement, and administer the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Program for ex-combatants or ex-members of armed groups who want to return to Rwanda and be reintegrated into society. The center where the program is provided is located in Mutombo, in Musanze, where former members of the defeated army and genocidal militia reorganized in the Democratic Republic of Congo and launched targeted and terror attacks. It was opened in 2001.
The program always combatant, irrespective of their military background. Someone who returns from the FDLR, someone who was demobilized from the RPA, someone who was demobilized from the Rwanda Defense Forces, they will get the same support, they will get the same treatment, they will be treated equally and have equal opportunities throughout the whole process and even out there in the civilian life.
According to Mr. Musoni, host communities where the ex-combatants are sent to are made fully aware that they will be receiving these new guests and are sensitized to be supportive.
Communities are fully aware that they are going to be receiving ex-combatants, and they are not only aware, but they are also sensitized to know that at least they have to be receptive, they have to be supportive when these people return. Because some of them are their relatives, some of them are their in-laws, some of them are their friends, some of them are their former peers. So they know they are coming and they are always prepared to receive and accept them.
Criteria for admittance is that the ex-combatants must be of Rwandan origin and must have voluntarily surrendered their weapons to the United Nations Organization Civilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, who then contact the center and arrange transportation.
The first phase of DDR is done by MONUSCO because they come here, they return back to Rwanda without weapon. Disarmament is done inside the Congo.
Muhira Emmanuel is one of the ex-combatants who ended up here at the center. He looks forward to life beyond.
I have a different dream. I only need to be my own business. Now, I can't be study car, I can't be driver.
There are presently 27 ex-combatants at the center. Some came with their wives and children, who are also victims. Of all the ex-combatants who have stayed at the center, only a small percentage ever returned to the life they lived before. From Mutombo in Musanze, Rwanda, Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives in Nigeria, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is urging the Nigerian community in South Africa not to give up but to persevere until they achieve success. He emphasized that Nigerians can prosper without resorting to illicit activities and encouraged them to change the narrative by developing platforms to engage with policy leaders and for progress. Well, the Deputy Speaker was speaking at a town hall debate in Johannesburg, hosted by the Nigerian Consulate. During the meeting, Mr. Kalu emphasized the importance of maintaining strong diplomatic ties between Nigeria and South Africa to ensure the welfare of Nigerians living in the country. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Semosa, reports.
The town hall meeting was a crucial platform for the Nigerian community in South Africa to voice their concerns and seek solutions. Honorable Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives in Nigeria, engaged directly with the community, discussing a range of issues from safety and security to business opportunities and social integration.
So whatever you are working on, don't give up. Don't think nobody is listening. At the right time, all of them will come together to bet what you are looking for. The issue of cost of governance, yes, we are looking at that. And that is why the intervention of this current administration has been to the fact that Orosonya's report should be looked at, where we are collapsing agencies into one. Similar agencies should come under one MDA.
He also took some time to address the challenges facing Nigerians, urging them to remain patient and supportive of President Bola Tinubu's administration.
I want to encourage you to support this current administration. All of us should come together to make sure that it works. It is a hard time. He believes, he knows that the situation in Nigeria at the moment is hard. But what he told us is that we should hold our stomach, that it will not be hard forever. It's delayed gratification. If we wait a little bit, we will conquer. And this is the message I'm bringing to you. Remember, when I was in South Africa here, dollar was 6 rand to $1. But today, I came in a few years after, dollar is 18. And it's not only in Nigeria that is difficult, even here.
Many highlighted the need for better support in navigating legal and business environment, as well as improved communication channels with the Nigerian consulate.
A lot of our nationals who are in South Africa go into trouble for many a time, not knowing what to do, at what time, and to who, and what to do at what time and to who. So basic concept of those type of knowledge should be spearheaded by the consulate.
The operative word there is improving the communication channel. Having been here, I've lived here, I'm a South African citizen as well as a Nigerian citizen. I came into South Africa in 1994. I'm a citizen here. I have my wife and children here. The point is this, we live together. There are things they can learn from us that at least we can learn from them.
The town hall meeting concluded by members pledging continued support and regular follow-ups to address the community's concerns. Meanwhile, some stressed the importance of unity and collaboration amongst Nigerians in South Africa to build a stronger, safer, and a more prosperous community. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Semosa, Channels Television News.
The head of the United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, says Sudan is one of the worst places in the world for children. Catherine Russell says it now has the largest displacement of children anywhere, with millions facing malnutrition and most of them not in school. She is traveling to the country torn apart by more than a year of brutal civil war as warnings of famine grow louder. The pillars of Sudan's food economy have collapsed, and both warring parties, the Sudanese army and the paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces, are restricting the delivery of desperately needed aid. And the UN mission in South Sudan recently facilitated a two-day political parties forum in Juba to discuss critical issues that will contribute to a peaceful and successful political transition as the provisions of the country's revitalized peace agreement are implemented. Well, organizers say the event aims to create an understanding that the implementation of the agreement and the roadmap is not only the responsibility of actors at the national level, but also requires that the same necessary actions are taken at the state and community levels. The forum is expected to result in a communique where participants express their commitment to seek dialogue and support in expanding the civic and political space in the country. And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.